Thanks for tuning into the Hidden Tracks podcast. You can find us wherever you find podcasts or listen to music. When you have an opportunity, please give us a 5-star review, write a little note, tell us how we're doing. We really appreciate it. It helps us keep this thing going. If you want to reach out to us, you can find us at Facebook at Hidden Tracks. Instagram is at HiddenTracks99, and if you'd like to send in submissions or talk to us or give us any feedback about what we're doing, our email is myhiddentracks99@gmail. Thank you so much again for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy the show. Hello and welcome to another episode of Hidden Tracks. I'm here with Christian Sparacio, many other things that I may butcher throughout this. That is his name. He's a singer-songwriter, got a little indie pop flair to it with some folk. Really good. I'm really excited to have him on the show. So welcome to the show, Chris.
Thank you so much. And no worries on the name. That's a thing I grew up with. People tend to struggle with it, but you got it the second time. It was perfect.
Okay, good. Yeah, I mean, I grew up with the name Shane, spelled Shane, and all my teachers and everyone called me Sean. So I get it when names are wrong. After a while, I just would say, yeah, okay, next.
Yeah, exactly.
So I apologize for that. But glad to have you on the show, man. Stumbled upon you searching through music. Really liked one of your songs, About Time. Really connected with me and wanted to reach out and talk to you about what you're doing, man.
Sweet. Yeah. Thank you so much for the kind words and having me on. It's really cool to hear that someone was just on Spotify, stumbled upon my song and liked it enough to want to talk to me. So I think this is a first for me and it's pretty awesome.
Well, that's what we like to do here. That's why we're called Hidden Tracks. We try to find that stuff that not everybody's listening to. Not everybody can find, because to be perfectly honest, there's so much stuff out there. And I don't like when people get lost in the mix, when people just, hear the first chord of a song and skip past it. I mean, you're not giving anyone that put their blood, sweat, and tears and their heart into something a chance. So I appreciate you as an artist and what you're doing and putting yourself out there. It takes a lot of balls to do that. So thank you for doing that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you. I think that's true. I think people have short attention spans nowadays. So giving me the opportunity to show more people my music is really awesome. I appreciate it.
So let's dive right into this. I like to find out about people that are recording music and, writing music. There's a point in your life where it's usually when you're a child. It happened for me when I was a child, when I heard something that was just so different than the cartoon theme songs I grew up listening and singing, and theme songs to TV shows and Sesame Street stuff. And I remember this specific song, moment, and time of what changed my life and why I fell in love with music to the point of where I am today. And do you remember that moment for yourself when you heard music that just completely changed your thought and your vision on what music could be?
Wow. Yeah. So I'm going to have to dive into my memory right now, but there's definitely there's multiple moments in my life where that's happened, where it's like you discover something and it reveals this entire universe of music to you. I definitely think that growing up, my dad being a big Sinatra fan, and listening to Frank Sinatra, and he was so cool and collected and had such I don't know how to describe it, a rich, just cool tone. I was like, that's the coolest guy in the world.
Well, you're from New Jersey, right? So it's a rite of passage. So
yeah, in second grade, I actually dressed up as Frank Sinatra for our famous New Jersey people.
Nice. Stogie in one hand and a glass of scotch in the other.
I wish. That would be the coolest second grader ever. But I just heard his music, the way he sang and the melodies, and I was immediately drawn to it. And so that's how I sort of got my start in music, was as a singer and in the privacy of my own room and shower and in the backyard where no one could hear me. But I ultimately, fell in love with music through people like Frank Sinatra.
It's a I mean, it's one of those things. I look back on my time in life and growing up with music. I've been very blessed that being around my grandparents that were so close, and I grew up with that Frank Sinatra, Tony Bennett, the Billie Holiday, the Ella Fitzgerald, Louis Armstrong. Like I got to grow up with that awesome vocal jazz. And then I had my parents who were into doo-wop and the more country-ish stuff. So everything kind of started to progress and change. And then my brother's 10 years older than me. So then, I had classic rock and I had all this kind of stuff. And my sister's 4 years old. Like I was so blessed to have, I guess, such a different perspective in different age groups of music that, I mean, it stuck with me through the test of time. Has that kind of stuff stuck with you? Like, have you just completely, like, do you still just go put on Sinatra to get that funny feeling you had when you first heard it?
Oh, absolutely. And I think as you grow and you listen to music, more and more stuff gives you that feeling and inspires you, but it's special because it's like the first experience. Like my dad sang Fly Me to the Moon to my mom at their wedding. And I decided when I was like 6 that I was going to do that to my future wife, which is like the weirdest thing. But it's like there's a few things when you're in life, like you're growing up. I feel like there's some consistencies that never change. Like I know I want to eventually be a dad. I know that I want to get married, and I know I want to sing Fly Me to the Moon to my wife at our wedding. So it's so funny. But in terms of like inspiration and things that stick with me, like you said, you had older siblings. I had my father and my mom were very influential, but my brother was only 18 months. He is only 18 months older than me. So I didn't have someone to like show me a new realm of music. But one thing that I always attribute a lot of my musical taste to and my ability to learn more about music was Guitar Hero.
It's a big influence for, I'll put you in the category of the younger generation. I'm in my 40s. And I did see how it changed. I looked at my nephew, and my nephew's coming to me asking me, my nephew's now 24, but at the time that Guitar Hero was big, come, Uncle Shane, this band AC/DC, what is it? And I'd just be like, all right, I'm going to make you a playlist. Here you go. Like,
Hell yeah.
Here it is. And I'm like, what is this, 15-year-old kid asking me about AC/DC for that hasn't been relevant since, 91?
Yeah.
What's going on? And it was Guitar Hero. And then I literally went and got Guitar Hero. I was like, oh.
Yep. Yeah, it's awesome. And I'm 24 also. So it was like in that sensitive period of discovering what I'm passionate about, what I'm, what I enjoy doing. Like to the point where I think Guitar Hero, I think I was like 9 or 10 when the first one came out, maybe a little bit younger. And it got to the point where for my 11th birthday, like the one thing I wanted was to go see Eric Clapton when he was touring again. And I went to see Eric Clapton with Steve Winwood at Madison Square Garden with my dad. Like it was the coolest thing ever. And I was like 11. I was there and I was like, Dad, why is everyone old? And he's like, because no other kids want to see this. You're weird.
You're not weird, but listen, that's one of those musical memories that I talk about all the time. That you're never going to forget that. And you got to see fucking Clapton.
Yeah, it was insane. I've never seen someone so effortlessly like play the guitar. It was just so cool, And I've obviously it was special for me because I was like, he's one of the greatest of all time. And I've seen John Mayer live, who's amazing. I've seen, I saw Ringo Starr, I saw Paul McCartney. Like I saw a lot of cool people, but I don't think anyone trumps that like absolutely ethereal experience it was to see Eric Clapton in person.
That's unbelievable. I mean, that takes the cake off of some of my first concerts, which was Kenny Rogers, Barbara Mandrell with my parents and my sister. But yeah, that definitely, that's an amazing experience. And to get that from Guitar Hero, and that's what, like, musical inspiration comes from so many different places. If that led you to that, did you ever get into the music that was, you had to have, because it was relevant at the time, and you're in high school, and your high school years are pretty influential, and you got to try to fit in with something. What did you lean towards at that time, or were you an outlier?
Well, I think my musical taste was very eclectic. Like I think I was kind of across the spectrum. I really enjoyed, silly things like Michael Bublé, and everyone's like, "You're a weirdo," But and then I was like, whatever. My parents like it. They listen to it a lot. He's cool. And obviously I listen to the classic rock and stuff. But trying to think of, I was a huge John Mayer fan. He was mainstream. Like he wasn't necessarily always the biggest thing on the radio, but you could get by.
But he was big. He was
Yeah.
big for the time.
So he's big. I was big into like, God, now I'm trying to like go into my memory now. This is so hard. Trying to think of who I listened to I was big into like classic people like Eminem, like rappers, stuff like that. Cause I grew up on rap as well. Cause my aunt is like very young. She's only 13 years older than me. So she was like 18 and I was 5 and we were driving, listening to Ja Rule, So I had such a weird musical upbringing to the point where I kind of attribute that to why there's so many, like my iTunes makes no sense. Like it's just so many different genres. And I'm like, oh, today's a Ja Rule day. And then tomorrow's, Ringo Starr and his all-star band. Like, who knows?
Yeah. I try to keep people away from like, somebody's like, oh, let me scroll through your iTunes. I'm like, you're going to be there for 18 hours scrolling through all the bands in my iTunes. And you're probably not going to know half of them. And the other half, you're going to be like, what the fuck are you listening to?
Yeah, exactly. So, and hey, and even in middle school, like it wasn't necessarily, it became cool, I guess, to listen to like metal. And I started listening to like metal and also just hard rock. I listened to a lot of, I grew up on like Blink-182, stuff like that. That's not metal, but then I listened
was it like Slipknot at the time for you that got big?
Yeah. Slipknot, Disturbed, Children of Bodom, was one of them. Like Bullet for My Valentine, and then a classic one that I loved was like My Chemical Romance. I was a huge My Chemical Romance fan.
They were emo, another Jersey band.
Yeah, another Jersey band, which I didn't even know at the time. I had no idea.
Yeah, there was a point in I want to say in like early 2000s, mid 2000s, where New Jersey was just putting out just some of the best stuff at the time. Thursday, My Chemical Romance, the Milwaukees. There was just Penfold. There was so much amazing music coming out of New Jersey that, some of it got big, some of it didn't, but it was still like had a huge underground following. And, to hear somebody your age, and I guess that's where My Chemical Romance fell in, because I get into talks like this all the time, because I'm like the first wave of emo, and like My Chemical Romance was like the second wave of emo, where I was still being an opinionated asshole.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, the original stuff, like, this is better than this, and never gave him a chance. And then I start giving it a chance. I'm like, oh, now I get it.
Yeah, I feel like they're so cool. I love their music so much, but I understand like when there's a second wave of something, it's like you want to keep close what I feel like humans don't like change,
No, definitely not. And I got to say, like, it's something when you get older, I've learned to just appreciate things more, to the point where we're on the third wave of emo now. And I listen to every single thing that comes out, and I'm like, wow, this is fucking dope. Like what the hell is this? It's amazing. And whereas before, when you mature and you grow up, everything changes. You become more, I don't even want to see, in your 20s, you're a danger seeker, and in your 30s, you're seeking some form of normalcy. And now that I'm in my 40s, I'm seeking some sort of change. So I'm enjoying the third wave of emo now, as I guess it's being called with a lot of stuff that's out there.
Yeah. So what bands would that be? Like I am so bad with the terminology, but I feel like I still listen to it sometimes,
Yeah. So, emo was, I had mentioned Thursday, Taking Back Sunday, My Chemical Romance.
Yeah.
That was the second wave. First wave is like one of the bands who's on my threes this week, Christy Front Drive, Mineral, Jimmy Eat World, the Get Up Kids. And now the third wave we're into, there's bands like Love Again, Bliss. There's so many that I've been listening to that I'm just like, wow, they figured it out.
Yeah, I need to start listening to it more, because I'm definitely out of that wheelhouse now. and I do enjoy it. You ever hear of like the Menzingers?
Yes. Yes.
I don't know if that
from
I don't know.
PA, from Scranton, PA. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't.
they're a pop punk. I would
Yeah, pop punk.
call.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
love that
they're
band.
awesome though. I've seen them before at a place called Crossroads here in New
Oh,
Jersey.
Garwood, right?
Yep.
I played
Good
there.
old Garwood. So let's figure some things out, because doing my research on you as I did, you kind of crossed that awesome line of I'm going to label it, of saying that you were a jock
Yeah.
who can also play amazing emotional music. Did you have a tough time deciphering that when you were growing up?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I feel like it's so funny, like talking about this because it's something that has become so normal to me. And then like one of my managers, Matt, he's like, wait, what? You played football and you do music? He's like, that's impossible. And I was like, oh, it seemed normal to me, but it was never normal. But it's so ingrained in me now that it feels normal. So yes, I did struggle with that. Like it was difficult because I think what people don't understand, what even I didn't understand, is football and sports in general. Because football is my main sport. Like I played that in college. I love football, but it's an extremely emotional game. It taught me all these different types of emotion, but when I was young, I didn't label them emotions, because I thought emotions means you're sad and you're weak. But when you're on a team and you're like almost crying out of desperation because you're like 7. I started playing when I was like 5 in pads. I was like 7. You're basically going to war with people, and that's an emotional thing. So I think once I was able to connect the two and be like, okay, this is emotional and that's all right. Like it doesn't have to mean I'm weak, And then I could be like, how can I translate this in other ways? And I knew that I loved music and I knew it made me feel something. But it wasn't until I got older, that I was able to say, oh, I feel kind of similar things when I sing to when I'm like about to throw a touchdown pass. It was like, it was so weird, the collision. Like it was so similar. So once I was able to put the 2 and 2 together and be like, okay, this is not that different, then I was able to kind of really prosper as an artist, I think.
And what was your first step from trying to do both at the same time without, we've all been in high school and we know, regardless of what transpires in the world with anti-bullying, and you can never change someone's mind about you. Were you cautious about that?
Yes.
And how did you transfer into that to the point where not giving a shit anymore?
Yeah. So I think ultimately it took, like, I always knew I wanted to be a singer at the very least. Right. And, it became a little bit cool to play guitar in middle school. So I started playing guitar and then I gave it up because I was like, it wasn't really what I wanted to do at the time. I wanted to sing, but then it was still a little bit like, it's kind of weird if you sing all the time, and I wasn't confident enough to be like, okay. So then in high school, I went to boarding school, and the first boarding school I went to wasn't very like open-minded. Kids were very rigid, very judgmental, very elitist. And I was like, it was like sucking the soul out of me. And then I was able to transfer to a really cool school in Pennsylvania called George School. And I think if I didn't transfer there, I wouldn't have been able to, dive into music. They were so open to, they valued like balance so much to the point where, I just knew that I could do it and no one would judge me. They actually valued it and they were like, oh, you should do both. It makes you a well-rounded person. So I attribute a lot of my ability to, become, accept myself for who I was to that school and all the leaders and faculty there. Then ultimately too, I was like, you want to make fun of me? I'll punch you. Like, get away from me. Like, I'm bigger than you. Anyway, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. And then obviously it graduates to like, I'm not going to hit anyone now. I'm a grown up, but it was always easy for kids when they knew I wasn't allowed to hit them to like throw words at me, because I was always bigger and stronger than they were. And then when it got to the point where I just had to ignore them because I knew I would get in trouble if I hit them, So that helped me evolve too, like mentally, and just get stronger mentally.
Yeah, see, and this is a great thing for listeners. People don't always realize who everybody is, and seeing someone in a football uniform doesn't necessarily mean that that's who they 100% always are.
Absolutely. And I think there's so many predispositions about the game, about anything. People just carry predispositions. And it's like, just like people before they're listening to this didn't realize that, I like every now and again cry in the shower because I was so sad that I couldn't like do what I wanted to do, It's like, why am I feel so like out of place, And I was like, I want to do music, but I also want to put eye black on my face and run through someone's chest. Like, why is that bad? Like, I want to do both, and people don't know that until you tell them.
No, exactly. And that's why I appreciate you opening up about it. And what also is good is you to mention and tell people that support staff that you had, that put their arms around you, said it's okay to do both. And that's what I think is important too, that I think a lot of times is people think that they're doing the right thing, but they're not always doing the right thing. They think they're supporting you when they're really not supporting you. But to know the difference it's a part of life, and to figure it out as you grow. But to have that at a young age where you really did have the support is awesome.
Absolutely. And that's why, I encourage anyone listening, like, always be kind to people, because, you never know, you could be talking to the next Jimi Hendrix and, hand them, if they want to play the guitar, be kind to them and encourage them. Don't be like, so many people project onto you, and if they're not as good or whatever, just be nice, like
I say
nice to people.
It's my mantra in life, and I do it all the time. You never know when you're going to cross someone's path again, and it's so much easier to be nice. It really is. It's so much easier to say please and thank you, even if someone's being an asshole to you. It's so much easier to be nice than to confront something, because it just, all it does is it hurts you. And just like anything else, if you're mad at someone, it's only hurting you. Most of the time it doesn't hurt them, because it's just eating you up inside, and it doesn't affect them.
Oh, so absolutely. Yeah.
Sometimes you got to let little shit go and think about the big picture.
Oh, for sure. And yeah. And one cool story real quick because I don't want to forget. This is just a cool thing that happened. Like, we had this really tough, like, football coach, and he was also an English teacher. And, I got really close with him, and I had this opportunity to sing in front of the school. And I remember I was just like in the basement of my dorm, and he walked in and was getting something from the vending machine, saw I was there, and like told me to stand up. And I was like a little nervous. I was like, why is he talking to me? And he like grabbed my arm really hard, like not in like a painful way, but like he was like trying to get my attention. And he was like, you have a gift. Never give that up. He was like, I was so proud to watch you do that. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, holy crap. I was like overwhelmed. And then I was just like, you got to leave because I'm going to cry.
Yeah. Well, that is a big thing. I think that people don't always get that. And I make a point of it. And this is what I'm doing now. I make a point of trying to tell people that you're worth something. And what you're doing is making a difference, regardless of if you have hundreds of people telling you or not that it is. I make a point when I go to shows and I have an opportunity to talk with the artist afterwards, and I'm honest with them. I'll be like, man, that second song was awesome. I didn't understand the first song, but you guys, like, you're fucking amazing. Don't stop doing what you're doing, because you're figuring it out, and it's only going to get better the more you figure it out.
Yeah, and you're actually listening to them, which is good. It shows you care.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. I tell people a lot, and I've done it on this podcast. We talk about songwriting, where I want to go to next. But if you write something down on a piece of paper, or you type it into your computer, it's what you were feeling at that time. Don't ever throw it away. Just put it aside. It doesn't take up space.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because you hear stories of songs that, people write their number one hit song that made them famous. They wrote it in 5 minutes, and then a song that they love so dearly took them 4 months to write, and it's just but to them it's something. So if if it's not something to you, it could be something to somebody else. It could be helping somebody else. And you don't realize it, and you're not always going to realize it. But just
Absolutely.
know
Yeah.
that there are other people out there listening. And it's important for artists like yourself to know that and to not give up on something that you love. And even if you don't make a career out of it, to still continue to always do it.
Absolutely. And I mean, you hit the nail on the head. Like, one, music will never leave you. So, even when my knees don't work and I can't play pickup basketball, I'm going to be able to play music, which is like the ultimate gift. It's like, why wouldn't I cultivate this skill and this passion now? But also, one thing that I've come to learn, I think, in like only the past like year, because I haven't had that much time writing songs. I've only been doing it for like 5 years now. So I realized like songs I wrote like 4 years ago that I didn't understand why I wrote them. They were like explaining things that I've come to understand literally now. And it's like your subconscious understanding of the world and the way that you are it comes before your conscious understanding of things. So to your note where you said you wrote something down, maybe it doesn't make sense or it doesn't mean something to you. It came out for a reason. Something motivated you to write that. It doesn't mean nothing. So keeping it is a gift not only to yourself for later understanding and reflection, but to people that maybe will understand it at that exact moment.
Yeah, and that's what music has. And you brought up that playing pickup basketball, and like you are always going to have music. You're not always going to have that athleticism that you're going to have in your life. And for me, YouTube's going to get so inundated with sports videos at some point, but music lives on forever. It's not going anywhere. The first song ever recorded is still played to this day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nobody watches old, Celtics games when they won 10 champions, when, Bill Russell won 10. Nobody watches that stuff, but people can still flip on a song.
Absolutely.
And it lives on forever in this humongous world that we have. You can find stuff. And how did you find, or I'm sure you're still figuring it out, how did you find the resource or the vision to start writing songs?
Yeah. I had a funny journey with that because I think my confidence as a writer and a musician was very low at the beginning. And I think initially I just started singing. And then, I was singing my whole life. I was singing other people's songs. And I was like, I think ultimately the motivation was I was dating a girl in high school. And
that's where it comes from.
Yeah. And but it was like this fleeting, she was like clearly losing interest in me. And I was like, I want to navigate this. And I want to like write a message to her, but also for myself, through song. So I wrote a vocal melody and some lyrics, and then my buddy, who's amazing at guitar, listened to it and like just played the chords, and we just sang it with each other, like in my room. And that was like the first song I ever wrote. And I was like, okay, like I can sing melodies now, right? And then it got to the point where, I was downloading beats and stuff and like singing over that because I didn't have like the guitar acumen, to like actually make music, and then that was like freshman year of college where I was, listening to beats, or then I collaborated with people that played instruments and we would write songs and I would be, crafting melodies and stuff. And then, a big moment for me was a kid that I kind of leaned on he was a pianist, and we would write songs together, and I would do the vocals and he would do the arrangements. He dropped out of school, and I was like, okay, I guess I'm giving up music. And then I just had this dumb moment, like as like a 19-year-old, I was like, I like walked past the piano in the lobby of my dorm, and I was like, how do I learn to play that, right? And then I just sat down and started playing. And then initially I played piano, picked the guitar back up, and just grew from there. It was weird.
Now, did you have a hard time putting your words down and opening yourself up?
I think in terms of emotion, I never, once I broke through, I'm, I mean, I don't have any issue like telling people when I'm emotional. I think I get that from my parents. They're very strong people, but they're also, and they're one of the things that makes them strong is that they are so open about how they're feeling, and it doesn't mean they're weak. Because like, you better bet, like if my dad says he's sad, I'm not going to make fun of him because he terrifies me. Like I have the respect for him. I'm not going to be like, haha, you're sad. It's like, oh, okay, I respect this guy. I know he's really strong and he's going to be really emotional. So emotionally, I didn't have a hard time opening up, but I think learning to put words down that like even at all, defined how I was feeling, that was hard for me. And I think I leaned on my vocal a little too much. So if you listen back to demos from like when I was 19, it's this horribly like grandiose, like really, flaunty vocal that is like sad sounding. And I was like, I don't know what the hell that is. But then it evolved and I started really listening to music more and listening to lyricists, like artists that weren't good singers, quote unquote good singers, right? That weren't, couldn't hit like insane notes, but I was still drawn to listen to them. And I was like, maybe I should try to, write songs without leaning so much on my voice. And it just took time.
So what was it like when you did put yourself out there and that first time that you played a song in front of people that you didn't know and the reaction that you may have got?
Would this be something that I wrote myself or just my first ever performance?
Both. So if your first ever performance to the first time somebody appreciated something you wrote.
Yeah. So the first ever performance was in high school, like when I got to the new school. And it was my junior year. I joined the chorus, and we had been in chorus for like 2 months. And I had like, you can't really hear people because it's like this big, like muddy sound of voices with kids that don't really know what they're doing. And I remember we auditioned for solos, and in order to audition, you have to do it in front of everyone. And I remember we went in a circle, and you had a bunch of kids doing it, and they sounded pretty good. And I was nervous. And I was like, I'm not going to do that well. And I was nervous, so my voice was shaky and whatever. And then everyone paused and looked at me all weird. And I was like, oh, I messed up. And they were like, yo, what? You can sing? And I was like, oh, yeah, yes. And that was like a moment where I was like, okay, what I was thinking my whole life wasn't a lie. I wasn't like out of my mind, So it was this amazing confirmation. It was like pretty much 14 years of me singing alone, being like, I'm pretty sure I'm good at this, but I'm not positive. And then finally I had these people staring at me with their eyes wide open, like, what the hell? And I was like, okay, sweet. I wasn't out of my mind. So that like, was a big
look at this asshole football player. He's fucking amazing.
Yeah, it was a big moment for me because you can tell yourself as much as you want, I'm amazing at singing. And I'm not, but until you get sort of the confirmation from people that have no stake in who you are and how you are or whatever, they have no reason to say you're good at this. You know what I mean? And it was such like an authentic reaction where I was like, I was so relieved. Like so relieved. So that moment forward, I think that ties into your last question. I was just like, I'm just going to be myself and trust when I know I'm good and I know I'm bad and be honest with myself,
Yeah. And that's a thing too, where there's a fine line between cocky and confident. And I always try to tell people at certain points in your life, you're going to go over that line and you're going to be cocky. But for most of your life, if you can just stay confident within yourself, that's the only thing you need. If you have confidence in yourself, you can get up every morning. Listen, I've struggled with it. I've mental health issues I've talked about on this show before. And we've all gone through times where, things may not seem that they could ever get better. But as long as you're confident in yourself of everything you do, I'm the type of person that I've honestly answered a question hundreds of times. I have zero regrets in my life. Zero. Yeah. I've gone through some really bad shit, but I wouldn't change them for the world because I wouldn't be who I am and where I am today. And it's an experience. It's a learning experience.
Absolutely.
Failure's the world's best teacher.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, no, and and I hope I don't mean to come off. I didn't mean to come off cocky at all. I was,
No, you didn't,
yeah,
and that's what I mean. Like you were
yeah,
confident, and that's what
yeah,
like you were. And there's that fine line, and you bringing that up, like you knew you could do it, but there's a difference. There's people who go out there and know they can do it and stand up there and chorus and sing and think that they're the best in the world, and that's cocky. You got up there and sang because you knew you could do it. You just didn't know how good you were until you had the affirmation of other people, but you believed in yourself that you could do it. So that's that fine line of cocky and confident.
yeah. And I think too, just being one thing I try to like be really on top of with my own personal development is just don't waste time lying to yourself, right? Like if don't pretend you're good at something if you're not. It's just gonna just waste years of your life. Like I did that with football. Like I pretended I was good at certain skills, and then I was like, I could have spent the last 2 years like getting better at throwing that kind of pass. Instead, I was like doing other dumb crap that didn't help me, you know?
Yeah.
So I think learning to know what you're bad at and being honest with yourself is so critical in like personal growth and anything, any growth. That was big for me.
So back to the part 2 of that question. When you first played one of your own songs that you wrote in front of people to see the reaction from that, I mean, is that something that you wish you had bottled up and could pour it over you every day?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. It was such a slow process because it was like first it was songs where it was just me singing, you know, and it was gradual. So I had like I made songs with that, like I had mentioned, that kid that played piano, and we played some shows, and people were like, it was always like, oh, you can really sing, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I had gotten over the singing thing. I was like, I want to prove that I can be a full like triple threat. Like I can sing, I can write, and I can perform. You know what I mean? And so, you know, it started to get a little bit numbing when people were like, "Oh, you're really good at singing," and it's like being a football player that's just like really strong. It's like, or like a quarterback. You know, I don't know if people are familiar, but like the reason Tom Brady is so good is not because he's super strong; it's because he's really smart, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I started attributing, you know, more of like the intellectual aspect of it to the songwriting. So it wasn't until I'm trying to think of, to be honest, like the first time I don't think I performed like in front of a group until I was like a senior in college. And it was amazing. So I got this group of people together. They were my friends, and they knew I could sing whatever. And I showed interest in writing, and I had written a bunch of songs, and they were impressed. Like, and they were like jazz band guys, you know, and like the one, our bassist she was like this awesome bass player, and I was super intimidated by all of them. And they were like, let's play all of your songs. And I was like, what? So I think their confirmation was even more important to when we got to play our first show, and everyone was like, holy crap, like this is awesome. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think the approval of people I really respected and intimidated the crap out of me was huge. And I think you're right. Like, yeah, it feels good to know that, you know, but I still struggle with that when I'm around like musicians I really respect. Because I think in the end, you know, it's that cocky versus confident. I have confidence, but I think I still do struggle with it a little bit, you know?
Yeah. And listen, you're always going to, I mean, it's when you're around someone that you respect, you're always going to feel lesser because you don't think you are on the same level, even though you may be on the same level or above them. But it's good to feel that way. Mm-hmm. It's good to feel that, wow, these people are awesome. I'm never going to be like them, because it also gives you something to strive for. I want to be like them, but I'm never going to get there. But as long as you have that confidence in yourself, you'll get there one day. Yeah,
absolutely. I think so. And that's, yeah, it's very wise of you to say. I think it's good for people to remember, not just me, anyone, you know? And it's like, yeah, nothing more. I mean, you hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, I've built a house or two, so.
But yeah, I'm trying to, in terms of that, I mean, that's like my first experience with it. And that was like the best feeling ever.
Now you're in an age that we're in the singles world now. I mean, it's where we're at. I mean, I think a lot of 2020 had to, put that on people as well. To here's a song I wrote, put it out. Another month or two goes by. Here's another song I wrote, and I get it. I understand it. I understand the world we live in with where everyone has ADD, and whatever's in your feed that day is what is important to you. Do you find it hard right now for yourself starting out, trying to live in that world of, okay, I have to fit into some sort of algorithm. I have to make sure I have a song coming out every couple months so people pay attention? Or are you not even, is that not even a thought in your head?
No, it's definitely a thought. It's hard because, like, you're right. I mean, not only is it, I mean, I'm still so fresh that I think I'm only just getting frustrated with it. 2020 was like a big year for me because I was able to release a lot of singles, and I was like, wow, this is great. I built up my following a lot. But now I'm like, I want to evolve as an artist too. I don't want to just tell stories in one song. I want to put together like 11 that are all different, but all contributing to the same sort of narrative in the greater sense of an album, So
you didn't hear me, but I just took a deep breath because that's refreshing to me.
Oh yeah.
To hear that. It really is. I'm a big proponent of that full album, that every song goes together, but in their own special way.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole album tells a story, instead of me listening to 9 of your singles that every single song is 100% different because we have to figure something out, where I think a lot of people are going nowadays, where it's like, oh, well, I have to, I got to throw some heavy bass into this one and get these beats up because I need to fall under this playlist.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. And I think that's the worst thing you can do. Like, and it's frustrating, and I'm not going to speak. I find that the biggest sound right now, like if you go to New Music Friday, like indie pop, like not like where I describe, like I have like a little bit of indie pop in me, right? But like I'm talking real indie pop, like sort of like those lo-fi guitars, but then there's like the beefy drums, and it's like they're all the same. You know what I mean? They all sound the same, and I'm like, no judgment to you. Like it doesn't mean I'm not more special than anyone, but it's like, it's clear that you're not being original, not because you're not original, but because you're trying to be something you're not. So like, it sucks that then you release something that's not true to you, and it gets put on New Music Friday, and you get 1 million plays in a week. You're like, what? So this is what I should do? Versus like when you release something that's super, super meaningful to you, and that is true to your artistry. Maybe it doesn't, just because New Music Friday doesn't like it, doesn't mean it's not going to be timeless once you finally develop your fan base, And
yeah, and I think we're a little past the days of, I look at things where there's been bands that have progressed into the world of, oh my God, what the fuck are you doing? But you've earned the right to do it. Radiohead, one of those that every album progressed and became different and more different and more different and more different, to the point where I'm just like, oh, so there's no guitars in this anymore. But they earned that right.
Yeah, I think Linkin Park did the same thing.
Yeah, and I think, there's every song that someone's going to write isn't going to be a hit. I'm a huge Foo Fighters fan. A new album came out, and I was like, I've listened to it 5 times. I'm like, I can't find a song that I can connect to.
Mm-hmm.
But they've earned that right to be able, we're just going to do what we're going to do. Yeah. And I think people are trying to fit a mold. Yeah. And, gone are the days of big record labels. Gone are the days of becoming huge, an MTV person. Those days are gone now. And I appreciate the originality, and especially you saying you want to cultivate an album, because that, to me, that's what stands the test of time.
Yes. The standing the test of time is what is important to me. And so I'm glad you said that.
Yeah. Not standing the Friday's test of time. Oh, I got all these plays on Friday, but the album's standing the test of time. You look in my studio right now, and all my records, my CDs, my tapes, those are standing the test of time. They ain't going anywhere. I ain't going to some thrift shop to get rid of them. These are mine. I've acquired these. I take ownership of it because yes, it may be staring at Sunny Day Real Estate right now, but guess what? Sunny Day Real Estate, you belong to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I can't do that with singles. I do have a couple old tapes when tapes would come out on singles, as a single song and be like, oh, look what I have, or my 45s. But it's now in the digital age, it's really hard for me to even find something to buy because people aren't going to put the time into making something that, not everybody's going to buy.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't fit that mold.
No, I agree. And I mean, and again, it costs money to make an album, but
absolutely.
And the thing that's hard is like, you just have to believe that the right people will find your music eventually. I'm not going to start catering to the people that I see in front of me. If you're not interested in it, then go find what you're interested in. I'm not going to try to be what you want. And I've run enough Facebook ads in my life to know that there's people out there that not only will they click the button I want them to click, but they will go out of their way to follow me and then message me and say, holy crap, like I love this type of music. And I'm like, I appreciate you for telling me that because I made this song the way I wanted to. And I'm glad that even though I'm finding a very small group because I don't have like loads of money to advertise, but there is a group there that likes it, Yeah. And I'm growing to understand that group more too, it's a fascinating journey, understanding, the type of person, that enjoys your music and like the energy and that it emits and the way it is sonically and all that stuff.
Yeah, and that's what you have to appreciate for what you're doing. You have to appreciate the people that are finding you and liking you instead of trying to garner the people who are going to like you for 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the things. There's a lot of stuff out there that, you like something for 3 minutes because that's usually how long a song is.
Yep.
So you like it and then you move on and you don't take the time. And I'm one of the people that I hear a song in a playlist that one song catches me. The first thing I do is I go directly into that artist and listen to every single thing that they have that I can listen to.
Mm-hmm.
Because there could be something in there that's special. Why I'm talking to you. I heard something special in About Time. And I was like, holy fuck. All right. Let's talk to this kid because there's something special there and I want people to know about it. And I don't want you to give up on it.
I appreciate that. Yeah, that means a lot because, a lot goes into it, and you sacrifice a lot to do that, and you put yourself,
Yeah, you put yourself out there. It takes, like I said at the beginning, it takes a lot of balls. It really does.
It really does. It does. So that means a lot, for sure. I really appreciate that.
So this will take a lot of balls too. What out there would you, doing air quotes right now, be afraid to let people know that you listen to? It's a guilty pleasure portion of this.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm so like shamelessly, like I just don't care. Like my friends will tell you that it's so hard for me.
I understand that. As I grew up, I start to own shit.
Yeah,
but
let me.
There's got to be something where if someone was just flicking through, it'd be like, what? Why do you have the Spice Girls in here?
Hey, know who I like? I love that song. It's "Raining Men" by the Weather Girls. Like that's like one of my favorite songs of all time.
Oh, see, there we go. And that's listen, we're seeing the wizard behind the curtain.
Yeah, and it's so funny. It's so funny because, and in ways you don't want to be your dad, but it's so funny when you become your dad. It's like my dad's favorite song, and it's like it somehow became mine, and I was like, damn it, like why does he have to be right on this one?
Listen, I don't even want to get into that conversation. All you need to know is my name's Shane, but my wife will see me do things. She's like, Jack, will you fucking stop? Which is my father.
yeah, exactly. It's such a funny thing. But yeah, that's one of them. Hey, I'm a sucker for the Weather Girls, but I'm sure there's more, but I doubt I can
Hey, listen, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah. But
So I know it's hard to single this one down, but who is your favorite band? Like I have, for me it's literally like I have three, like they're, because it's three different like genres of music, but there are three that I go to. So you're allowed to have more than one, but do you have a favorite band that's just like your constant, always count on them?
it's so hard. It's like an impossible question, and I know people understand that. So I guess it honestly depends where I'm at. But people like bands I always return to. Like I love Kings of Leon. I really love Kings of Leon. I love John Mayer. Like John Mayer is like the OG for sure. Like I know both bands really well, but I know like every John Mayer song by heart, like with my eyes closed upside down. And then trying to think of a third one that I'm just trying to think of bands that I always go back to. Like I can't find myself not going back to. Um, this is a hard one. Well,
You don't have to search if it's not there.
Well, no, there's one band that always comes to mind, but they're so modern. Like, because I love classic rock and stuff, but like the Head and the Heart.
Mm-hmm.
The Head and the Heart I love. Like, and I find myself going back to all their different albums, and I'll listen to all of them. Like, I'll just listen through them all the time, and I'm like, oh, there's one band I can always go back to. It's this one.
Yeah, and if you like classic rock and you need to get into something that's amazing, that's new, I've talked about them plenty of times here. Rival Sons.
Rival Sons. Let me type them in.
So Rival Sons is a band that on first episode, my friend told me I had the best line ever when we were out one night. I said, listen, they're not your favorite band, but they're better than your favorite band.
Yeah.
They are the greatest rock and roll band I've ever seen or heard in honestly almost my life. Like they've completely captured how to take classic rock and modernize it to the point where it's the greatest shit you'll ever hear.
Hell yeah, I'm excited. What song should I start with? I mean, I can just start with their album.
Just hit play. Just hit play.
And just listen.
Just listen.
All right. Sweet. It gives me something to do.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm super stoked about this now.
Yeah. They're one of my favorites. I talked on our bonus episode that actually released today that, you know, one of the craziest nights of my life. It was Mother's Day. One of my best friends and I, Mother's Day night, Rival Sons were playing in Jersey City. I was like, dude, your mom cool? He's like, yeah, my mom's cool. Your mom cool? I'm like, yeah. Listen, we're in our 40s and we're asking if our moms are cool when they're going to bed regardless. But we go to see Rival Sons, who I've seen them play to a sold out house at Irving Plaza. And then we go to Jersey City and there was 40 of us. And they still tore the fucking house down like they played to an arena. Like,
hell yeah.
It was amazing. I had an awesome weekend of music too, with Greta Van Fleet and Mother the night before to Rival Sons that next day. Like it was almost like I had my own Woodstock of classic rock with new people doing it, which was awesome.
That's dope. I've listened to Greta. I just can't even say Greta Van Fleet a little bit. I always know they get like that comparison to Led Zeppelin.
Oh yeah, I mean, listen, if it's honestly like you're listening to Robert Plant when he was 16.
It really is. Yeah,
it really. I mean, and one of my buddies who's not a fan of him was like, yeah, if I wanted to listen to Led Zeppelin, I just put on Led Zeppelin.
yeah, I kind of agree with him. I do, but I haven't given them enough of a chance to.
They were so new when their 4-song EP hit. I mean, I was like, my buddy and I were like, what the fuck is this? Like and we're like, yeah, no, they're like 16-year-old kids from like the woods of Michigan, like doing this. So I was like, holy shit.
You know what band you need to listen to? I'm not sure, you might, and there's a multitude of reasons they impress me, but Kaleo.
Uh-huh.
That band is so cool, and they're from Iceland. It's like, how did you learn to do this? There's songs that sound like they're from Texas. It's like, how did you learn to do this? And then I realized they're living in Austin, but like, you know, you don't just learn to make, like, there's like a song that's like,
no, everything from Iceland isn't Sigur Rós or Björk, you know?
Yeah, Iceland's cool. There's another Icelandic guy I really like.
Olafur?
No, he's like a folk guy. What's his name? His name is Junius Mavant,
Okay.
and he's freaking awesome. Like he's super like kind of has folky elements, but he has all these cool experimental percussion stuff going on and cool strings. I would highly recommend you check it out.
I'm going to send you another guy too, who is one of the most, if you want to sit in a room with a candle on and cry, I'll send you his name. It's really hard to say, but he's from Iceland. And I want you to remember when I send it to you and you listen to it, that he was a heavy metal, when I say heavy metal, a death metal, black death metal, heavy metal drummer. And now he plays these beautiful concertos on piano that will fucking make you cry.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah. It's hard to say his name, and that one I will butcher. It's like Olafur Arnalds. It's fucking unbelievable is what it is.
That's Olafur Arnalds. Yeah. He popped up right away. That's so funny.
Yeah, he's unbelievable.
That's such a cool thing to see where people come from and where you discover them.
Yeah. Like he's a heavy metal drummer to being one of the greatest, like to my point of like, there's another guy who's fantastic at piano and just makes music, Johan Johansson. And it's under the same realm. Like I was listening to him and he popped up and I was like, wait, this guy's name sounds familiar. And then I'm like, oh yeah, he played death metal. and now he's making me cry on piano. This is amazing.
That's hilarious. That's like the ultimate double take. Yeah, that's sick. Yeah, that's great. I'm excited. I have a long drive going on Friday, so I can dive into all these different tunes.
Awesome. Listen, I'll send you tons of shit to check out.
I'll always listen. I mean, maybe it'll take me time, but I'll listen. And I'll send stuff right back. So
awesome. So I don't want to keep you very long here. I don't want to take up too much of your time tonight. One of the things I want to ask you is, if you were to be remembered for one song that you've already written, what song would it be?
Language of Silence. It basically represents my current understanding of being like alive and the world and the universe. And it's not I didn't write the chords. I worked with an Australian producer who I became friends with like over Facebook, and we never talked on the phone, and we made a full song never having spoken. Which is another thing. Like music is so cool that way. Like we didn't even need to talk. We just understood each other musically. But I would encourage, it's not like my most popular song on Spotify right now, but I think it means the most to me, and it represents the most of like who I am mentally and spiritually more than any other song I've ever written. And I don't think I'll ever write something that encapsulates it so perfectly other than that one.
All right. Well, you're still young. There's still more to come.
Yeah, you're right. It's easy. It's hard for me to imagine now, but I'm sure I'll write it eventually and be like, oh, here it is.
Yeah. No, but that's why I wanted to know if someone wanted, to remember you by something, and I got the answer, and that came very quickly, which was awesome.
Yeah, that one's special. I like that one. It means a lot to me.
All right, so we're going to be coming in on our hour here. Our last question that we always go to, because I know you're going to go ahead and open up your Spotify or iTunes playlists. We end our weekly shows with our weekly threes. 3 things you're listening to right now. Could be new or old, doesn't matter. But just give someone a chance to get into what you're listening to, and something someone may never heard of before that they may want to listen to as well.
Okay, very cool. So what I'm listening to right now, if we're just going to keep it to right now, there's this band from Montreal. I met they're small, like they're even smaller than I am. But I met them through TikTok, which, to give you a sense of my age, they're called the Daydreamers. They just dropped a single called "Carried Away," and I can't get it out of my head. It's so cool. They're like, I don't know, like a mix between like the Lumineers and something with a little bit more of a rocky nature to it. Like they're super cool. So that's one. People have got to check them out. I'm scrolling now. I gotta figure this
that's
out.
what people usually do.
Um, another song that I love is like, it's called Book Club by the band Arkells. Um, and they just released or I don't know how recently they did, but I'm listening to it right now. It's an acoustic version of their song Book Club, and it's just awesome. I encourage anyone to listen to both of those songs, like Book Club, the original, and then the acoustic. It's the ultimate. I mean, it's so cool. And then final one. I mean, this is kind of like not as recent, but I discovered them, and it's just like so fun. Is this band Parcels I believe they're from Australia, and they're like super funky and cool. I would suggest this song "Tied Up Right Now," no spaces, just "Tied Up Right Now" by the band Parcels, Parcels. They're super cool. They're gonna get you dancing. Like, I'll be like in the shower, like dancing, and I'm like, what am I doing? And it's because of that.
Like Beck Colors dancing, or
Colors.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite dance album out of the past like 10 years was Beck's album Colors.
I honestly haven't listened to Beck at all.
Fuck my life.
It's funny. You want to hear something that's gonna like be like a dagger to your heart? I went to see Cage the Elephant live at PNC in Holmdel. I don't know. You've probably been there before. I don't know.
Yep.
And they were co-headlining with Beck, and we watched Cage the Elephant and then left.
Oh man!
Like, we watched one song. Like, he played that one song that everyone knows, and then we were like kind of tired. We're like, we're gonna leave. And I that's something that I don't want people to know. But we went home.
Well, for our millions of listeners, they now know.
I'm sorry. I could hear the life come out of you a little bit.
Listen. When I was younger, my buddies and I would talk about it all the time. As I've gotten older, pre-COVID, I went to about 7 to 9 shows a month. And at this point in my life, I get there early and I watch every band play every song because I never know when I'm going to find the gem. And so many openers that I've probably missed along the lines that are, in my list of bucket list bands to see. I could have had the opportunity to see them in a 500 person club, and
yep.
I wanted to drink at the bar next door before going to see the band I paid the money for.
Yeah, I have. No, hey, it happens to the best of us, and that's a lesson that I've since learned too. Because the band, you ever heard of the band Saint Motel?
Yes.
So they played at my college, my senior year, and we had been like marathon drinking all day, and I saw like all these cool bands play. Like Hippocampus played. I don't know if you know them.
I know Hippocampus. They're very good. Very
cool. Twin Peaks played. They were awesome. And then the headliner was, what's it called? Same Motel. And I was like, had been drinking all day. I was exhausted. And it was like 90 degrees outside. And they all are wearing leather pants and leather jackets. And I just said, that's lame. And I left. And then I listened to their albums like a couple days later. And I was so mad because I was like, these guys are sick. And of course, my dumb drunk head was like, I don't like what they're wearing, so I'm going to leave. And then I went to bed.
Yeah. I'll give you a quick one too before I went to a show last year. I think it was probably last year. Well, 2019, let's call it. It was.
Counts as last year.
Yeah. I think it was Houndmouth.
Oh, Houndmouth is sick.
Yeah, it was either Houndmouth or the Middle Kids. I forget because it was my wife and I and my friend and his wife. And, we're older people. When people do things stupid, like we're just like, oh, that's fucking stupid and cheesy. But the opening band, the name of the band was Okie Dokie. First off,
I know that band, I think.
Yeah. So first off, the name of the band, we're like, what? Okie Dokie? And I was like, and then they got on and they had this like awesome, like retro, like almost like an Otis Redding vibe with rock and roll. They were awesome.
This band is so cool. Their song "One by One" is awesome.
Yeah. So the guy gets off the stage in the middle of the set, still singing, just gets off the stage with the microphone with a long cord on it, walks to the bar at the back of the Bowery Ballroom, orders his drink, and then walks back up to the bar while he's still singing because there wasn't a lot of people there because it's the opener.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at my buddy, and we're two complete judgmental fucking pricks. But we both looked at each other and we go, fucking rock star.
Yeah.
Like, where probably if we were in our mid 20s at the time, be like, look at this asshole. Who the fuck does he think he is? But I'm just like, we both looked at each other and just go, fucking rock star. Like, that was amazing.
That's sick. That's awesome. I'm so excited to play more live because I want to do stuff like that.
Yeah, and listen, I miss it so much. It was if I sent you my list of the past 3 years, if I kept track of every single band that I saw, where I saw them. I travel a lot for work, so I get to see. The first thing I do is before I check into my hotel room and just find out where the music venue is and who's playing there, and then I go.
Mm-hmm. That's sweet. That's like the best surprise, right?
Oh, it's amazing. One of the last shows I saw last year was I was in Portland, Maine.
I love Portland, Maine. I went to school in Maine.
So I'm in Portland, snowy February night, and I was like, man, twice this has happened to me in Maine, which has been pretty fucking cool. But so I was like, all right, let's see what's going on. I'm like, Soul Asylum and Local Age, $20.
Where were they playing? The State Theater?
No. There's a club right down the street from there, bar club. I'll send you the name. I forget it off the top of my head. It wasn't the State Theater, because the State Theater, another band that I got to see when I was in Portland, Maine for work, was I see a line outside somewhere. I'm like, what? I'm like, what the hell's going on here? I'm like, what are you in line for? Guy's like, oh, Queens of the Stone Age and Royal Blood are playing tonight. And I was like, well, looks like I know what I'm doing tonight. Right on StubHub, bought my ticket. I'm like, this is what I'm doing. But it's one of my favorite things to do is live music. It just gives me there's no other feeling I get than seeing music played live.
Hell yeah. It's the ultimate experience.
All right. So before I drone on, I'm going to get to my 3 for this week, and then we will get you out of here.
Sweet.
My 3 for this week is I've been listening to Oranger. They're an indie pop rock band from San Francisco from the late 90s to the mid 2000s. Just an awesome, have a little psychedelic vibe to them. They're really good. Next is Christie Front Drive, one of my favorite original emo bands of all time. Eric Richter has gone on to do some of my other favorite shit like the 101 and Antarctica, Golden Boy. And last but not least, something newer, something that dropped recently, which I'm really excited about. Tiger's Jaw, indie pop band out of Scranton, PA. The new song called New Detroit is awesome, and I can't wait for their album to come out. So Those are the 3 things that I've been listening to recently.
Hell yeah. I love Scranton. I just became friends with a kid from Scranton. He's actually a musician too. His name's Telko. You should check him out. But Scranton breeds a lot of good musicians, man. Yeah,
I guess they got a good little scene because a lot of good shit's come out. The Menzingers are from there too. So
yeah, and James Barrett too is awesome. I was going to play a show with him. You would like him, I think, based on what you're saying.
All right, awesome.
We'll have to share some. We'll have to exchange some emails. But I didn't mean to hop on
after this, we'll exchange some shit. But
yeah.
I want to give you the opportunity to tell everybody how to find your stuff, how to find you, how to get in touch with you if you'd like them to. Now's your opportunity to tell everybody about you.
Absolutely. Well, as everyone already knows, my name is Christian Sparacio. I'm from Marlborough, New Jersey. And I'm at Sparacio Music on literally everything. I post a lot on Instagram. That's like my main thing. But then I do TikTok, and you'll get like a different side of my personality there. But just keep, if you could follow me on Spotify, I'm going to be actively posting for a while and hopefully leading to a bigger project soon. Some videos and stuff. So there's a lot of cool stuff to come. But yeah, Sparacio Music. And yeah, appreciate the opportunity to be here.
Well, I appreciate you coming here, Christian. And if anybody has problems wanting to spell it or do anything, you can follow us at HiddenTracks. We will have all the artist information up that we talk to. We will have everything there for you that if you want, you can click on us to get to them or vice versa. So, good. Christian, thanks so much for being here. So we end this as always. Want everybody to remember, just go out and have a great time.
Awesome. I really appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Thanks again for tuning into the Hidden Tracks podcast. We hope you enjoyed this week's show. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at HiddenTracks99. Also, send all your submissions to myhiddentracks99@gmail.com. Tune in next week. You may find your new favorite band, and don't forget to go out and have a great fucking time.